Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is finally a video of the Zowie U2. I'm finally able to talk about this. I've had it for quite a while and I've just been dying to talk to you guys about this. Highly anticipated and heavily leaked, the Zowie U2 is a brand new shape from Zowie. It's something that we've never felt before in their line of mice and something that just shape-wise looks and feels so unique. You guys will notice starting off with the shape that it is a pretty narrow mouse, one that is quite long. And as you get up to mouse 1 and mouse 2, it narrows out even more. The butt of the mouse actually does start quite abruptly from the back and kind of evens out all the way up through the mid of the mouse, providing you a really nice, sufficient base to plant your hand on if you are going to be using a relaxed fingertip and or a palm hybrid. This mouse is so long that it should work very comfortably for claw grips as well as fingertip grips and for palm. The shape of the mouse, you guys will notice the side grooves on the left and right side are so deep and so well done that it just makes it feel like you're using an ergonomic mouse with your thumb just resting perfectly under mouse 4 and mouse 5. The shape of the mouse, again, being exceptionally unique, I'm happy to say it's also one that performs damn good in-game. Getting to performance, I know the first thing I'll probably be asked is the weight of the Zowie U2. The weight is at around 61 grams on this particular copy, which I can probably get down and I'll test later with PTFE dots as opposed to the typical Zowie black default skates. The mouse is only 1000 hertz compatible, and it does have the enhanced receiver, which is actually quite a nice feature at this weight, being able to just plop the mouse onto the receiver and get that magnetic charging, which the battery life actually is quite long. I think I've only charged, I don't actually think I've charged this mouse, and I've probably used it for close to 3 weeks. I just haven't necessarily been cataloging my time, but what I can say is the battery life does seem solid. Getting to what I really love about the mouse and the performance in game is, again, it's going to boil down to that shape. This is kind of a shape, and you can probably assume it feels more like a fine point utensil. When you get this in your hand, your thumb and your index finger kind of align to a point that make your aiming experience just feel a little more fine point, which probably has a lot to do with the narrowness of mouse 1 and mouse 2. The nice ergo curve on the left side of the mouse as well is just extremely comfortable and really locks your hand into place when you are hunkering down and spraying or tracking somebody in game for that extra stability. For me in game, I think I posted a video on Twitter like months ago about a little montage I had on an NDA mouse. That was actually the Zowie U2. My tracking feels really, really nice, and everything in terms of the grip, the coating, the weight balance, everything felt quite good, with the weight being a little bit more towards the butt of the mouse from my subjective swinging the mouse around, but nothing that inhibited me or I noticed while using the mouse in-game. In terms of the scroll wheel, it is the typical Zowie scroll wheel. It is somewhat loud, has well-defined steps, but it does feel kind of on the lighter side compared to my EC. Easy to scroll up and down, no issues whatsoever. Mouse 1 and mouse 2, I do wish my switches in this copy felt a little bit better. I think it's the typical Zowie switches that are used on the EC series as well. A little bit on the dampened side. It's kind of like a softer touch, whereas I wish it was just a little bit crispier, but no big deal. The switches do sound and feel quite good, comparatively speaking, to other mice. You can see the top shell design is actually all one piece, which I think actually does help with switch grinding as well as side flex on mouse 1 and mouse 2. You guys can see there's barely any flexing this top shell. The side buttons are glossy. I wish they were matte, and they are quite large and just have a little tiny bit of post travel on one of the buttons when hitting it towards the bottom side. So actually the side button implementation is pretty good. I do wish the side buttons were matte though. I just have a thing with glossy side buttons because I use them so much in game. I kind of like having a more matte finish on my side buttons. Again, you guys can see the skates and the skate design as well as that position there for the magnetic charging. If you are into modding your mice, it seems like a mouse that has a lot of room to be able to shave off weight if you're feeling adventurous. And guys, I don't want this to come off as a full review. It's really just a showcase, giving you guys my initial opinions, my thoughts after using it for quite a while. It's an early production unit. It's not a final unit, so things can change, and I'm sure the build quality will only get buttoned up from here to your hands once you make a purchase. What I will say, though, is I'm fairly positive that the coating will probably not change. It's typical. It's standard on Zowie mice. I like the coating, but of course it picks up a lot of grime. It picks up a lot of sweat and fingerprints. So I'm sure, from an aesthetic standpoint, that could bother some, but functionally in-game, performance-wise, it feels quite good. The thing I really like about the U2, and the thing I just can't emphasize enough, it is a unique shape. It is a new shape, and it feels really good in the hand. I think a lot of people are going to feel refreshed with this. It has a lot of unique features shape-wise with its long structure and thin forefront near mouse 1 and mouse 2, and its beautiful angles on the thumb. It really is a mouse that feels really nice, and something that we've been needing from Zowie. We've been needing those new shapes, and I think it fills their line really nicely. It seems like a staple mouse like the ZA or the S2. It just feels really nice. If I had to kind of like equate this with something, it almost reminds me of an FK, but with just different angles and just the way the thumb really curves. It just feels like an entirely new mouse, and just, again, exceptionally well done in terms of the shape. Compared to the X2 HES, the only other thing I would add is it is quite different. You can really see the difference in the length of the two mice, but the hump on the X2 HES is quite a bit more bulbous towards the back, and you will feel that kind of raise up in your hand quite a bit more and hit you on the undersurface of your palm area easier than the Zowie U2, which remains and feels like it just curves with your hand a little bit lower and more naturally for a more relaxed, less aggressive hump under the palm type of grip. For me, with a relaxed fingertip grip, I do kind of hybrid with it, but relaxed fingertip, I get actually, despite its length, some good inner hand maneuverability, especially side to side, given its narrow structure at the forefront. And with a little bit of a hybrid grip, when I, again, am kind of tracking someone or spraying, I get a little bit more palm contact, and the mouse just feels like it curves on the underside of my palm, as opposed to me just feeling like I am getting a very pinpointed push on a specific area of the hump on the X2H. So it's a very unique shape. It's a refreshing shape. I think it feels good at 60 grams. And for the performance, despite this not being 4,000 hertz, at 1,000 hertz, I had no hiccups with the enhanced wireless dongle. And everything here, again, felt great and refreshing from a performance perspective. I will do a final review, guys, when the mouse actually drops and I get a retail copy, and I'll update you guys on the improvements or if there are any issues with the initial batch that I purchased myself. I hope it helped, guys. If it did, please leave a sub to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace, guys.